Alright everyone, it's about to get fun. In this section, we are going to be working with the visual editor and showing you how to actually edit and lay out content on your Squarespace site. This is probably one of the coolest things about Squarespace, this whole editing system and what sets it apart from anything else out there. And it's also really one of the core features, what you're really going to be living in and out of every single day. So this is probably one of the most important sections throughout this entire course. So, with all that being said, let's dive in and get started. So, the purpose of the visual editor here is, again, there's a difference. You have your visual editor, and then you have your style editor. And the style editor is what's going to change your fonts, your colors, all that kind of stuff. And your visual editor is really going to allow us to start to change all of the content that's on the site. So here we're not going to be working with all of the actual styles and fonts, but instead what we're going to be doing is going through and actually adding and laying out content on the website. So we're going to come here to this just simple home page that we have. And so what it says, we have home, and we have really nothing here. So a completely empty and blank web page. So what we're going to do is, in this 5 theme, we have this kind of header up here. And we're not going to worry about that too much now, but we're going to get into that in a second. But what we're going to do is we're going to come down here and we're going to see this home header content. We're going to see this page footer content and this home footer content. I don't use the header and the footer content too much, but the page content, this is really where a bulk of the content on your page is going to live. So what I'm going to do is first click edit here, and you'll see we have this kind of visual editor that pops up, and I can just start to type on my website. Say hello, this is the text for the website. And we can go in here and we can use this text editor and do the bold, italics, any of this stuff, which I'm going to go through all of this in a little bit more detail in a separate video. But we also have this ability to see these kind of little circles right here. We can add stuff below, above, and below. So if I come down here and I click this little circle, I can add all of these different little widgets and blocks. So say I want to add an image. I can do that. I can click on image, and I get this little image upload tool. I come over here to add an image and click this upload. And now I can basically come over here and find the images that I want to upload. And I'm going to upload this hero shot right here. And I'm not going to worry about this too much. We'll get into the image stuff in a little bit more in a later video, but I'm going to let this upload. I probably should have compressed this before I did this, but for demo purposes it'll work. One thing, just anytime in websites, you do want to try to compress images. Generally around 250 kilobytes or under 1 megabyte is generally a decent size compression for the web. So try to compress it without losing too much quality. But this one was not compressed, so it's taking a little bit. And once that's going to take a moment to kind of process and resize, and then voila, we have an image on our site. So we just added some text. We can add a caption. Here is a cool caption. We can come down here again and add another block. Let's see, what do we want to go down to? What would be cool? We want to maybe add some social links. So I want to have links to all of the social media profiles. Well, I'll click social links. I can mess with the alignment, make these say sit left where the text is. And what you see is now here's that little Twitter icon. Remember how in the earlier videos we just integrated the Twitter account? Well, you see the Twitter icon here, but if I had connected Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, all of those icons would show up here as well. And I can change the size of this and work with kind of all these different options here change the style, and a lot of cool things. So I can really kind of customize this to look how I want it to look. We'll save that. But well, maybe this isn't working how I want. Maybe I want this social icon underneath this text, and I want the picture to sit to the right. So how do I do that? Well, the other cool thing about the visual editor is you can really drag and drop. So I'm going to grab this picture and I can start to drag it around. And if you look at this, I can actually begin to move it. So see this thick gray line back here? Oh, that's where I'm about to drop this. So if I drop it right here, the image will now be above the text. Look at this. Now we have the image above the text, and we have the social media icon right below. Maybe we want it below the social media icon. Drag it down here. Now we have these above it. So as simple as that, I can literally rearrange how the layout of the site is. I can also come over here. If I go to the side, I can actually start to kind of put it in these columns. And the side thing gets a little confusing, I will say this. But so you're going to notice that in different areas, different things happen. So first, if I come all the way over here to the right, I get this very big kind of long bar that goes all the way to the right. And what this has done is create an entire column. So I'm actually just going to paste a bunch of text onto this site so you can see that I've just created a column by putting it where I had that large vertical bar. I created a column for the site, but let's start over and let's come back down. And what if I come right here where I have this kind of gray box? Well, if I have this gray box, then the text is going to wrap around it. So gray box is kind of lets you do this kind of text wraparound effect. So that's another cool way to do it. And then the other thing we can do is we can literally come in here and just basically have these come to just to the right, and it looks like a column. But what you're going to see is that this block is still full width. So say if I had more text down here, this text, or if I just copy and paste, now because I kind of set it to where that bar just spanned the vertical height of this, I've created a side-by-side column with this element right here, but everything else, there's not a full column on the rest of the page. So again, it's a little confusing. It takes a little bit of time to get used to, but it's really, really powerful. And you can adjust this and literally grab, make this picture smaller, or you can make this picture bigger. And you can kind of really adjust this to your liking and get a page layout that looks just like you want. If I want the text to wrap around the left side, I come down here, do that same gray box, and now look, the text wraps over here. You can do the same thing, make it smaller, make it bigger, and really kind of adjust the size of the image and everything very, very simply. So this is the basic kind of overview of the visual editor. I'm going to stop here on this video, and then in the next videos I'm going to get a little more detailed. I'm going to show you a few other things around the page settings and how to get rid of this sidebar over here and some stuff like that. And then I'm going to just kind of show you a lot of cool tricks and get a little bit deeper further into it. But hopefully this was a decent overview to get you kind of acquainted with how this whole thing works. So now that we're done, we're going to hit save. And then I'm going to come back and show you even more in the next video.